Cloud Run is a service. You can run your stateless containers. It's a managed compute where you can run your stateless containers. It scales automatically. You don't need to worry about it. It's a serverless solution. That's where I love it. So you can focus on what matters for you as a software engineer. Google take care of infrastructure. This is a magic. This is a magic. As a software engineer, I always wanted to build a great software and containerize my software, then deploy to the service where it can scale automatically. I don't need to worry about infrastructure because 1 year 2 years before I have to just build the Kubernetes cluster. I need to configure, do it manually and manage the Kubernetes cluster, and I need to allocate a dedicated guy to just take care of my infrastructure. I don't have a money, or I don't need to worry. I don't have to do this because if my application can run on if my stateless container can run on any managed service, that would be amazing. That's why I would recommend to any software startup, unless you need a specific requirement, I would recommend you to use the Cloud Run because it scales based on your traffic and is scaled to zero if you're not using it, so you're pay for what you're using it. And I have a very basic application built on Falcon. If you haven't heard about Falcon, I'm going to talk a little bit about Falcon. Falcon is a framework. It's so fast, it's reliable, it's restful, it's complementary, it's extensible. They have you can build a very fast, speedy API backend app. They have a very good exceptional handler. We were using Flash for the some time. Now we are moving our all the application to the Falcon because we found it that makes sense because it's so speedy and it's so robust and it's so minimalist. So I'm not going to talk much. So I'm going to build the application, build and submit my Docker container to the container registry. I hope you know the container registry. Container registry is a service provided by GCP where you can host your custom domain. Then I pull the image from the container registry and I deploy to the Cloud Run. That's it, guys. Then Cloud Run will generate an endpoint and where I will map my custom domain to the Cloud Run, so your endpoint will have a very familiar, very user-friendly domain name to ping it. Make sure Cloud Run will only run on port 8080, so your application should be run on 8080 port. So that's the one thing you should be noted here. Alright, so I'm gonna build the Docker container here. This is a gcloud build submit. Before you build the Docker container, you need to enable the build API. So if you go to the website here, you can see it here. You need to enable the cloud build API. Then you can just run the cloud build submit, then tag the image. It will just build and submit to the container registry. So I'm gonna build this image now. It takes 1 or 2 minutes to build. So until then, I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you the Cloud Run. You have to enable Cloud Run API. So we will go here. I have already enabled the Cloud Run, but I would like to show you Cloud Run API here. If you can search anything on GCP on this search bar. That's something amazing. I have already enabled. If you haven't enabled, they will show you here to enable the Cloud Run API. Once you click it, you will get this panel. You will see here the traffic, the response code, all these things. Then we can go to the Cloud Run. I hope it's already done. Okay, they're just building it. Another things I would like to talk about the custom domain DNS. So I have bought the domain from the Google domain registry. This is the domains.google.com where you can register your domain. You can buy the domain from GCP Google. So that's something easy for me to just update my DNS and connect to the Google clouds. I'm a Google guy, so I use everything on Google. I love Google because Google Cloud is very developer friendly. They built alright. We build and deployed cloud Docker container. If you go to the container registry, we would see our container. Here we go. Yes, I have already done couple of time, so you can see my image is done. So I'm gonna pull the image. And deploy to the Cloud Run. So I give a service name for Cloud Run. If you haven't give the service name, they will take the default name something. Then the image, I pull the image from the image we build and hosted from container registry. I pull the image from the container registry. I set up the region. The reason for set up the region in US East 1, because it has a low latency to Sao Paulo, Brazil, because Cloud Run does not have a supporting region for South America, so I have to select the region which is close to the Brazil, and so to make sure my users have a low latency. Then the platform, I made it managed, because today I'm going to talk about only fully managed Cloud Run, because you can deploy Cloud Run on GKE. So I would recommend to go for a fully managed, unless you need a very specific requirement or memory or CPU, then you just go for a GKE, because you have to pay for a GKE cluster. Allow unauthenticated, since my endpoint will be public. So if you want to talk about authenticators, next time we will talk, and how you can secure your Cloud Run environment. That's something is amazing to talk about it, because I have seen in Google Cloud documentation is not clear, and we have sent like 1 or 3 days to just figure it out how we can do it. So something I would like to share with you guys. That's the reason I would say, like, we work sleep on GCP. So anything on GCP you can ask me. If I don't know, I will ask my colleague who are GCP specialist, or we will contact directly Google Clouds through the our supportive network. Since I work for a Google Cloud Premium partner, we have a very connection with the GCP guys, and so we can resolve your problem. So I have typed here, alright, I run this command. It will build and deploy to the Cloud Run. That's something I really love at Google, because you can just install the SDK, and from the CLI software you can do it anything on GCP. I can do even custom mapping on G-Cloud, but I'm not gonna a terminal, but our CLI tool, but I'm not gonna do that, because I want to show you on a console to get you guys understand what I'm really doing it. Alright, once I deployed successfully, you will see here endpoint. So we can ping this endpoint, you can see it. Now you can see it, here we go. It takes a little bit time in the very first times to adjust the caching and all, but then the second time it works like very speed. Here we go, we deployed our application on Cloud Run. Yeah, it works perfectly. Now the second step is, I want to map my custom domain to this endpoint, because since this endpoint is not user friendly, and if you are building a microservices, you understand what I mean it, because domain mapping will help you to just connect and talk to your services. It's more easier for development. So I go here to the container Cloud Run. If you go to Cloud Run, you will see here already our service is up and running. I have deployed to several times, so you can see here revisions where I have deployed 3 times. So let's say I have deployed my last deployment does not work, the application got crashed, you can just switch to the previous version. It's kind of a rollback, That's something amazing. They just introduced this feature very recently, I hope. And about the manage custom domain, you can just click the manage custom domain, and I have already done it. So if you're doing very first time, you will see here like this. Then you need to select the service here. I select my first app. I have already added my G Suite, my domain name. So if you want to add a new domain, just click here and verify your domain. Just follow the procedure, it's so simple. then type the subdomain name for your service, then click it OK. Once you've done that, they will show you like this DNS record. Copy this DNS record and go to your domain registry. Since I have a domain registered on the Google domain, so domain registry, I will go here, and I have already added, you can see here, I copied from here exactly same service name, CNAME. I select as a CNAME to update the DNS, type CNN, because you have a many way to update your custom domain. So I selected type CNAME to update my DNS. Then I just select my service name here, then the DNS record, then the host name here. Then it will take like a 1 minute to 15 minutes, or maybe 1 day. It depends on the domain registry. If you have done successfully, you can just go to this website actually to ping it and see it whether you have done it perfectly correct. If you haven't done perfectly, they will just show you that you have some problem. It's a toolbox googlelabs.com where you can ping and see it. Then once you've done everything, you can just click here. This is our endpoint. Now we have mapped to this is our custom domain. So once I click here, alright, perfect, it works 100%, there is no problem. And you can see here my two endpoints are working perfectly. Here we go, my two endpoints are working perfectly. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any doubt, write the comments below. I will put the description. I will put my information on description, my company information, my LinkedIn. If you have any doubt, just ask me anything about GCP, from authentication to building a data warehouse, data pipeline, cloud architects, solutions, how you can optimize your service, how you can optimize your BigQuery, and building a great data pipeline, how you can optimize your cost. Anything about GCP you can ask me. I will just try to answer and solve your problem as I can.